Okay, so this is day 37 review. Um, Middle of September. I don't know, 18th, 19th, something like that. What day of the week is it today?
19th. It's Tuesday the 19th.
Tuesday the 19th. So we finally got out of 10 sleep, got out of Justin and Jody's hair. Got the oil leak buttoned up on my gasket cover on the GS. And got up, got out of town. Well, we got on the bikes about 10. Got out of town maybe 10:30, 10:45 by the time we left the gas station and got done eating all of our morning junk food. Headed south out of town on, it's a really fun road. Starts out paved. It's like Highway 434, and it just runs kind of southeast out of town. Just pretty pavement, pretty scenery. Not very chilly. And then I don't want to say 17, 18 miles, something like that, 19 miles of pavement. It eventually turns to dirt, but it's smooth, relatively smooth, wide graded gravel road. Really nice, really easy. Big sweepers. Occasionally there's a tight corner here and there, but no big deal. But really, really pretty scenery. You get a lot of the red sandstone rock features and cliffs and some of the stuff that kind of reminds me of Moab, Utah, the slick rock, but more of a dark red. Just really neat. And we rode that for a long way, and then eventually you pass through Mahogany Butte. I think it's County Road 82. This is apparently where Justin's family used to live a long time ago. Had a farm right there on the road, right at the cut through the mountain where the road goes through. And it's kind of interesting. It's an active rockfall area. So there's a big, huge bulldozer parked at the entrance to this short canyon and a big sign saying, "Don't stop in the canyon," because rocks fall all the time. And they use the bulldozer to keep the road clear, I guess. Just a really neat ride through there. It takes all of, I don't know, 3, 4 minutes maybe to come out the other side, but real high rock walls and everything. And then once you clear the other side, the scenery changes. It's more rolling hills, tan colors, scrub brush, occasional tree. But I had a huge gravel hauler truck pass me. I was stopped on the little bridge that crosses the creek right after you cut through the butte there. And, he was a nice guy. He gave me plenty of space and everything. But it's like, what in the world is that guy doing out here? And so I'm cruising down the road, chasing down Daniel and Sarah, and I come up on new gravel on the road. And it was pretty well laid out, pretty well packed. Wasn't deep, wasn't a problem. Wasn't real huge and chunky. It was maybe 1/2 inch diameter, maybe 3/4, pretty consistent. And they had like these little diagonal piles down one side of the road so you could go around them, and then they had areas where they had spread it. So I guess these trucks were hauling gravel. So eventually caught up to Sarah, and then the two of us eventually caught up to Daniel, and he's sitting in a little corner, like a 20-mile-an-hour corner, and there's one of these trucks coming the other direction towards us, and he sees me and Sarah, and he slows the way down, and he waits for her and I to get to the corner to join Daniel kind of near a gate that leaves the road so that he can go ahead and get on through the corner while we're clear, and then we can move on in behind and take off. So that was kind of nice. But Daniel and I are running and eventually come to, it's not really a gravel pit. It's on top of a hill. The road runs right through the middle of it. They're breaking up big, huge chunks of rock on one side with some kind of an excavator, dumping those into the one end of this gigantic machine that apparently just crushes all that huge rock into a very nice, consistent sized aggregate that they then go and spread on the road. And they did a really nice job of spreading on there. So it was hard packed, smooth, wasn't real dusty. You're not sliding all over the place, wiggling all over the place, but riding through that spot where they're doing the work, where they're loading the trucks and everything else, that was kind of because there was guys walking around and everything else. So we just kind of tiptoed to that and then took off. And, just kept heading south. Eventually, we dropped out in a little town whose name I can't pronounce. It's north of Lost Cabin. There was a really cool house, right? It turns to pavement at this little town, and there's a really cool house. Right before that town, we ran into a guy, Brian Schwartz from, I think, Michigan, and he was out on a ride breaking in his new Aprilia Touareg 660, I think it is. Beautiful bike. Got pictures of that that'll be in the ride report. Real nice guy. He was out doing kind of BDR stuff, so we talked to him for 10 minutes or so and then continued on our way. But once you get to where the road's called Badwater, or you see Lost Cabin, these are the areas where they have this infamous signs about how, if these sirens are going off, if the lights are flashing, vacate the area immediately because they have poisonous gas in the area, which I believe would be carbon monoxide from some of the well drilling operations that they do in the area. Of course, they don't tell you where to go. They just say leave the area. I don't know if you're supposed to go forward, backwards. I mean, I would be thinking get to high ground. If it's going off, then it's that thick. You need to be moving pretty quick, but I don't know how often they go off. Anyway, once we hit pavement, we just finished running down to, what highway is that? US 20, and then turned right west and headed into Shoshone. And I was hoping to stop there for lunch. There's used to be a little malt burger place on the edge of town that we stopped in back in 2017. Had a really good food and had really good ice cream made from local dairy milk, and just really, really good. I mean, better than Bluebell, which I know is sacrilege, but yeah, it was better than Bluebell. Anyway, they looked like they'd been closed down for a while, so we went to the local Exxon in town, which last time I was here was a little 3 or 4 pump operation. Now it's been renovated. It's huge, big fancy store, grill in the back, lots of pumps. They were redoing one whole half of the parking lot, asphalt and everything. So we went in and got, Daniel and I got burgers, and I think Sarah got pizza. And, if you're hungry, it's food. Definitely not like a Mavericks in Utah or Idaho. I mean, there's just no comparison in food quality. So yeah, we ate there and then took off and just continued down the highway and got over to, I want to say it's called Riverton. Yeah. And stopped there. Figured, if we were going to be camping, we needed to get some camp food and stuff. So we went to the local Walmart. If you like chili mac and beef stew, they don't have a lot of other options. Saw a sport good place, some kind of sporting store I'd never seen before across the street from the Walmart. So we went over there, and they actually had a little bit better selection. So I got some of that. And at that time, it was getting hot, and we were supposed to be heading to Atlantic City, which is in a kind of a desert area, and I really don't like to camp when it's hot, even if it's not humid. I just don't like being hot while I'm sleeping. So we kind of made an audible and decided to just head out of town on US 26 and go straight to the campsite that was going to be the destination for tomorrow. We were going to go down to Atlantic City and then ride south of the mountains through Pinedale and then up and over the mountains to the Falling Falls. It's kind of a weird name, but Falling Falls Campground or something like that, or Falls Campground. We stayed there years ago, and I was up here with Roger and Jay and Mason. It was a really cool campground. So we're heading down 26, most of which is just droning, and you start getting kind of zoned out, and it's easy just to, if you're not paying attention, it's easy to just kind of zone out. So stopped at a little gas station, general store that, interesting old dude working in it, like so many of the stores out here, and got an ice cream, got gas, because I didn't know how long it would be before we could get gas again. And after that, the weather started kind of getting iffy. I mean, it was still early in the day, but the wind was starting to get pretty rough. Temperature starting to dropping. The closer we got to the mountains, it really started getting very windy. Once we got past the intersection where 287 meets up with 26, yeah, we started kind of running northwest into the mountains. It got very windy, and ironically, the road kind of follows a river called Wind River. Now I know why. A lot of that's you're running down these canyons and you're going through these big sweepers, and it's hard to hold the line through the corner because the wind is picking you up, or you're leaning hard into the wind and it just stops blowing all of a sudden, and you fall into the inside of the corner unexpectedly. So you really had to be paying attention going through there because it was pushing us all over the place. And Sarah got out in front of me and she didn't know where we were stopping. I just said, "Stop at the next town if you see it," but I didn't know if she'd know where to stop. So managed to chase her down. There's some really, really cool canyons just on the east side of town that I didn't have time to stop and get pictures of. I would have taken a lot. But there's also a military vehicle museum right before you get to town that looked like it'd be pretty cool. So when I caught up to Sarah in Du Bois, and I asked her, I was like, what do you think about just getting a hotel if we can find one in this town? And of course, she's like, yeah, sure, love it. She was freezing cold. Daniel caught up to us pretty quick, and he liked the idea as well. So we just rolled into town and passed a place that had some cabins. But as we came into the main drag, I saw a place on the side that was like Western Cafe, or I don't remember what it was, but it was food. And right next to it was a hotel that looked nice. So we pulled in. Got a really nice room. I mean, it's got a full kitchen, full size fridge, full size stove. It's fully stocked. If you wanted to live here, like if you were working on contract work or something, it's got 2 queen beds, nice bedroom, and it looks like it's been recently remodeled. I mean, it's really nice. Way cheaper than some of the other stuff we've been staying in. So grabbed a shower just to clean up, and we go out to walk around. It's 6:30 maybe. The little cafe is closed today. I don't know what the deal is. There's a bar next door open, but yeah, I don't really want to go in a bar with a ton of people smoking and playing pool. That's just not my thing. I mean, it gives me really bad headaches. And the food's usually, So we walk all the way down to the next major intersection. Everything is closed. I mean, every business, everything is closed. Go to the other side of the road, walk back down, everything is closed. Come to a little barbecue place, it's open, but they're sold out. They don't have any more food. And there's people sitting there eating, and it smells really, really good, but they're sold out. So, walking away from the barbecue place, I spot 2 dudes they got a room right next to us here at the hotel. When I pulled in the parking lot, I barely got off the bike before they were offering me a cold beer. And so we were talking to them again, and they're like, yeah, there's a few places down the road you can go walk to. There's a hotel that's got a cafe, and then there's a place called Nana's Kitchen or something like that. So we start walking. We get to the hotel. It's 10 minutes till, no, it's 7:30. They close at 8. They're not seating anybody. We're not the only people there. There's a whole bunch of tourists in this town that are looking for dinner, and nobody's open. And the people are like, no, we're not sitting anybody. And, people in the lobby are getting kind of, So we're walking outside. There's some people who just ate, they're leaving. And, they hear me talking about Nana's Kitchen, whatever, and where is it and how far is it. And the lady walks out and she's showing us where it is. And she just tells her husband, why don't you just give him a ride down there? And he's like, sure. So we go hop in this dude's truck. He's like 8 feet tall. I mean, you remember how tall that guy? The dude was tall. He was very tall. Got us in the truck, drove us down there. Pretty cool, big place. We go in, the grill's closed. All they have left is pizza. And they close in like 10 minutes. We're like, fine, we'll take a pizza. It comes in one size. We just get a pepperoni pizza. Order drinks. And the drinks are flat. I mean, flat. So I take mine back and say, look, I'd like a a root beer instead of a Dr. Pepper because Sarah said hers was fizzy. She doesn't know what fizzy means because when I got a root beer, my root beer was flat.
Mine was fine.
And yeah, so eventually the pizza comes out and it is like a very thin crust, extremely soaked in grease. I mean, it was soggy. I ate 2 pieces because I was hungry, but I'm going to be paying for it tonight when I try to sleep. It's going to be ugly. But yeah, so we bailed out of there and we start walking back, trying to get back to the hotel. And it's a good mile or more to get back to the hotel. And it starts to rain. It's not like pouring down rain, but it's just that heavy drizzle that's blowing really hard because the wind is still cranking. And fortunately, we get back to the hotel before it starts to get bad because we're sitting here in the hotel and we start hearing the wind in the outside the window. And we thought we were hearing a cat howling or something like that. And turns out it was the wind coming through the screen outside the window. And opened the door and looked outside, and it was coming down, blowing pretty good. So yeah, kind of glad we're not camping. You know, once again, we've got really lucky on the weather with regard to camping and changing our plans, you know, without realizing what was going to happen. So yeah, that worked out really well. You know, sitting here trying to figure out now what we're going to do tomorrow. I think tomorrow morning we're going to get up and head back out of town towards that museum and go see that museum. Justin said it was really good. I want to say there was someone else recently. It might have been Denny Human Race on Two Wheel Texans who stopped in a similar place or this place maybe on his big, huge, long couple month trip that he just recently completed. So we'll go check that out. One of the locals here, the guy that gave me the beer, they said it was pretty cool. And then we'll head on down towards the Tetons and ride through there. And I'm not sure if we'll make it all the way to Colorado or not, or what we'll do. But yeah, we need to start really making our way south and getting down towards southwest Colorado, and then, you know, make our way towards Farmington. We've been on the road now for 5 weeks, so I think if we can finish up in the next 10 to 14 days, you know, make it a 6 to 7 week trip, get back in the truck and get back home, I think that'll be pretty good. I mean, we're getting tired. We're having a great time, but, you know, being away from home that long and riding every day and dealing with all the crazy things that have been happening, yeah, I just want to sleep late. I had a day where I can really just sleep in until I'm tired of sleeping, you know, and not wake up all night, every night. I haven't been sleeping good at all. Which is ironic because I feel better than I've felt in years. And despite our atrocious eating habits on this trip, I've managed to lose probably 10 or 11 pounds from all the walking that we've been doing. So there's that. Anyway, that's a wrap for today. It was a lot of fun. Sarah really enjoyed riding on the dirt. Daniel always enjoys riding on the dirt. So we'll let you know what happens tomorrow. Bye.